Hi, and welcome along to the weekend roundup. It's time to round up all of the games from the weekend. It was a brilliant weekend of football. And joining me, I've got my good friend Fuad here. Great to have you on board, mate. You know what I mean? Lovely to speak to a Tottenham. Oh, I even got music playing.
It's an action-packed weekend. Might as well have some music playing.
I was going to say, lovely to speak to a Tottenham fan on a Monday after Arsenal have had such a lovely weekend. You know what I mean? Tottenham, of course, playing Everton tonight, and we're going to touch on that later on. That's a massive game. And you know what? There's been a lot of movement around the league in certain places this weekend. This is you know what's Fuad, yeah? At the moment, this is a really exciting Premier League. A few weeks ago, everyone was talking about, City have won it. Yeah. It's done, it's over. Now they can be caught by Liverpool. You got the top four, where you really don't know who's going to get that top four position. It changes every week. Yeah. And then you've got the relegation battle on as well, where there's quite a lot of teams involved in that. But certain teams made some good moves at the weekend, but it could all change next weekend. It's how it is at the moment.
It's a mad season, and literally, as you said, a couple of weeks ago, it was done and dusted title race. Now Liverpool have kind of closed the gap. The top four teams, it seems like everyone's trying to embarrass each other as soon as they get the advantage. Obviously, your boys have taken the advantage this week, but we'll see how that goes with the 3 games in hand as well. And then relegation, I think there's about 6 or 7 teams involved. So it's going to be an interesting one. And I think no one was kind of expecting the resurgence of Newcastle as quickly, especially as it has been. And Eddie Howe's the job he's done there, you've kind of got to give him some credit. And I know there's going to be a lot of movement from now till the end of the season, because one thing that's the Premier League is it's unpredictable. I'll tell you that.
It's very unpredictable, but one thing that is quite predictable is that these top 2 teams in Manchester City and Liverpool keep winning and winning and winning. Machines. We're going to start off with the Manchester derby yesterday. Manchester City 4, Manchester United 1. A quite devastating defeat for all Man United fans. I guess they're going into work this morning, if they are at all going, and they're really hurt. That was a poor performance by them. Although the game started off, Fuad. Obviously, City went 1-0 up. What was it, after about 4 minutes? Yeah. And you're thinking they're going to run away with it. And then United pulled one back. Brilliant goal by Jadon Sancho. And United were playing all right. They were playing all right for patches.
Against City, though, I feel like United have been able to do that, where they kind of stay in games because they have played, under Ollie anyway, previously, a counter-attacking style where City always played a high line. I think them and Liverpool this season, they give teams opportunities, and I think we saw that even when Spurs played them. But I think United, they were close in the game, but they didn't really look threatening at the same time.
But in the first half, when they were I noticed this is like the first time I sort of see it with United, where they were pressing high up the pitch, very brave football, pressing high up the pitch, causing problems. And when they did win the ball, they were overloading the box. You know what I mean? They were getting a lot of players into the box, and I was really impressed by United for a good half an hour or so of that first half.
But that's the thing, I think, with United, especially with the quality of players that they have, they should be able to keep this up over a 90-minute game. And I think it's that drop-off that United fans are always disappointed with, where, they can keep up for half an hour. But I think City, with their quality that they have, the difference that will always make it is Pep Guardiola and the tactics he plays with, of course. I mean, yesterday I thought even Grealish, who pretty much has been MIA the whole season, actually looked lively against Wan-Bissaka. Foden was kind of linking up and playing the false line. KDB was playing almost a different role to what he's been, where he's been a lot of ball dominant. Yesterday was almost like a Lampard type performance, where he floats in behind, just gets the final basically piece on all the moves. So I just thought City showed their quality. And the interesting thing, I thought Rangnick's tactics to kind of play with Bruno and Pogba in this too, I thought, where you could maybe say in the first half it was working, I thought it kind of started to play against them after a while. They just started to look a bit like a big square with just McFred kind of floating in the middle. It just seemed a bit odd after a while, I don't know. And in the second half, when they tweaked it to the 4-2-3-1, that's when kind of capitulation happened.
We're going to talk about the capitulation. Let me just get a super chat in here. This is from Original Base. He says, Robbie, at this point it seems like a chore to watch United. These men have gave up after the second goal. I have such a bitter taste in my mouth. And another chat here from Push Pargo, he says, Gary Neville said that he still doesn't fully trust Arsenal. Spurs are still in with it. Arsenal still have to face the contenders for the top 4 spot, Chelsea, Liverpool, and injuries can easily derail our campaign. Let's not get on that Yahoo train yet, he says. So we're going to come to that Arsenal one, but that fan there who's saying that, you know, basically, original base, he says at this point, it's a chore to watch Man United and that they gave up after the second goal. And I've got to admit, that's what it looked like to me. As I said, they started off well, they were playing well, but once that second, especially when the third goal went in, United they weren't even running. I mean, you saw, you know, I don't know if you saw some of the stuff after the game. I mean, Gary Neville was scathing. Roy Keane was, he's always scathing after a defeat. But he was saying that there's certain players that should never play for Manchester United again. It was terrible, you know what I mean?
Can you blame them for being that mad? Because I'm sorry, but as a Tottenham fan, I've seen the last 2 North London derbies, and there's nothing worse than when you have the local derby, your team gives that kind of spineless, gutless performance where they just kind of cave in after half an hour. There's nothing more infuriating as a fan, and I imagine as legends it will frustrate them more. I think the bigger issue at United is you look at every phase of the team, and it seems like there's confusion. At the back, you've got the captain making big errors. In goal, you've got De Gea, who maybe had a better game yesterday, but has looked shaky over the last couple of weeks. The fullbacks, they don't fill you with exciting. And Wan-Bissaka, and compared to Trent, Reece James, Cancelo, all these other options the bigger teams have, in midfield, it looks like a confused muddle. And I think Rangnick coming in has kind of been like almost a stopgap where they thought maybe it's going to stop the bleeding, but it's a hemorrhage at that club. The bleeding ain't going to stop, I'm telling you.
Let's talk about Rangnick. Bought in. There was a lot of Man United fans really excited. I remember Said bopping into the studio as he does, you know, I mean, singing the praises of Ralph Rangnick. All right, I know he got off to a decent start, but a lot of those teams, when you start looking back and analysing that start, you'd expect United to beat those teams.
The fixture list benefited them.
Now he's coming up against certain teams. It's not really working out. And I think what is worrying if you're a United fan is there seems to be this, you know, we've heard all these rumours about disharmony in the camp. And then the Ronaldo thing yesterday. I mean, Ronaldo, for these type of games, you want Ronaldo in. He's a big time player. Ronaldo, not even in the squad yesterday, said to be injured, but there was a fan who put out something saying that Ronaldo's fully fit, and that was liked by Ronaldo's sister. Now, I don't know if we look too much into that, but she liked that post. He came under a lot of criticism, and he had to come out and say, listen, the doctors told me that Ronaldo's not well enough to play, so I have to go by that. Again, did he speak to Ronaldo to find out if he wants to play? Because you've got top players, they might have a, what did they say, hip flexor. He might want to play through that, you know what I mean?
If we know Ronaldo being Ronaldo as well, he doesn't want to miss anything, and especially the biggest game
of the season, really, as a Man United fan, that and Liverpool. And then the other thing is, we've seen this a couple of times with Rangnick, the Martial incident, when he said that Martial didn't want to play, and Martial put out an actual post on his Instagram saying, no, I want to play. And the same thing with who was it again? It was
Lingard. At the window.
Where Lingard said, what's going on? Why are all these contradictions?
One thing I think about Rangnick is he's come in and he's going to be here long term, let's be honest, because even after this season he's going to be here as a 2-year advisor, if I'm not mistaken. So I think with a long term view, he's kind of looking at the situation where, Martial, you don't want to be here, I'm not even going to involve you. Lingard, your contract comes out at the end of the season, so he's almost taking like a hard-headed approach, and I think it could cost him, because you look at Martial, he's doing decent.
If you take your hard-headed approach, just take your hard-headed approach.
I get that, yeah.
We've seen that at Arsenal with Arteta, right? He said Aubameyang is not playing. I know. Listen, it wasn't the, you know, it was split amongst fans. There was some fans, but he took the decision and he said, you ain't playing, and that was it. Didn't play, that was. But with this, there's contradictions. He'll say to someone, you're not playing. Then that person, you know, but he won't say you're not playing because I don't want you to play. He'll use an excuse of an injury or something.
This Ronaldo one is interesting, because the Ronaldo one, you think of it, a couple of weeks ago, Ronaldo was almost like seen as, I'm going to give him the armband and I'm going to strip Harry Maguire. So it seemed like Rangnick was almost Team Ronaldo versus the rest of the dressing room type of thing. And now it's like Ronaldo's the one drop. Are you saying now Ronaldo's the issue in your tactics and your system? Because I don't really see much of an improvement yesterday, to be honest. That's what United looked like without Ronaldo.
Did they give up?
Toothless and gutless, to be
honest.
Did
they give up?
100% they gave up.
Well, that's shocking, 100%, isn't it?
That's how I thought.
Shocking.
And the performance showed it in the second half. I'm sorry, but when City are able to take 92% possession, we hear 60%, we hear 70%. Class of 92 they talk about. Talk about class of 92% possession. Please. That's what we're going to talk about today.
I mean, it was shocking.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, what was it for the last 15 minutes of the game or something? Yeah. So basically, they gave up. That is that. If that
proof.
Stat
that's the proof
tells you you've given up, really. That you not even what? I'm sorry. Somebody's got to even just go and put a tackle in, get a foul or something. I mean.
I think you look at it. I think
you're a bit like, sorry to cut you. In basketball, when it's coming towards the end of the game,
garbage
and
time.
Then, and then nobody just
you just throw on the third reserves and all sorts. But you look at it yesterday. I think Rangnick, from top to bottom, they all got it wrong. Rangnick got it tactically wrong. I think with this free-flowing Bruno and Pogba as two number 9s. I think defensively Maguire's mistakes were costing him. And I'm sorry, if your leader at the back is doing errors like that, it's going to kill your team. Your midfield, you've got no creativity, no technical ability, let's be honest. And then your front players don't look hungry. Elanga, you're playing him in the biggest derby game when Rashford's on your bench. It's like,
to be fair, Elanga has had a couple of good games recently.
He has had a couple of good games, but I mean in the sense of that was Rashford's role. In the biggest Manchester derby game, I feel like Rashford's
done well in previous Manchester derbies as well, hasn't he?
He should be looking at himself right now thinking, I'm actually out of the team where Elanga's starting ahead of me in the biggest Manchester derby game. He should be concerned.
Well, there's a rumour today, I think Fabrizio Romano said it, that apparently he's considering...
He wants clarity on his future.
He wants clarity on his future, and he's thinking about, in the summer, maybe...
Can you really demand that, though, when you put in the performances he's put in?
That's it. I was about to say, I think a lot of United fans might be like, go.
I appreciate everything he's done outside of football, but on the pitch, I don't feel like Rashford has really been the same since he's had that big back injury under Ollie. Since he's come back off that, I don't think you've seen anywhere near the same hunger, the same attitude, the finishing that he had, the pace that he had. He's just not showing any of his positive traits. So he's in a weird, sticky situation, and United moving forward now, they're 3 games in hand behind Arsenal.
Yeah.
It's sticky.
Original Base again says another conversation needs to be had with the English bias. Tim Sherwood saying that Varane makes Maguire nervous. Captain of United in 2022. Listen, I'm sorry, Maguire had a poor game. You can't really pick any player from Manchester United yesterday who can come out of that game with any pride. Wan-Bissaka was dreadful. I mean,
stripping for every Man City
he looked out of his depth. And now Manchester City have now completed the league double over Manchester United for the 5th time. Right, the noisy neighbours, right, are really noisy now. The first since 2018-19. The Citizens have now managed this feat more than any other club during the Premier League era. It's really, really shocking. Meanwhile, and let's talk a bit about City, because that was a fantastic win. Kevin De Bruyne with 2 goals in the game. He run the show.
Yeah.
Marhez. Why are we all sleeping on this guy, Riyad Mahrez? He's got 21 goals in all competitions this season. He's banging in the goals. Again, 2 for him again yesterday.
Yeah, very quiet as well. I thought for maybe about 60, 65 minutes, because I tweeted it. I remember saying, Mahrez having a quiet game today, and then boom, out of nowhere, just scores a world-class volley, and you just think, that's what Mahrez is capable of. And City, they've got that quality in their side where for 60, 70 minutes, guys, you won't even think about them because Foden, Bernardo and Grealish are all running the show, and lo and behold, you just see Marhez pop up. That's the quality City have. But
the difference between them and United when they don't have the ball. I know we all talk about City with the ball, possession.
There was one perfect moment that summed that up yesterday when Sancho, on the breakaway, I think it was, and you just saw 6 or 7 City players bombarded.
And did you see who some of those players were? Bernardo Silva.
Yes, the most technical.
Yeah, guys like that who would be, if it had been Man United, you wouldn't have seen Bruno Fernandes and all those guys busting a gut to get back, and they're winning at that stage.
Yes.
At that stage, I think they was like 3-1 up.
That's the crazy thing with Pep's teams. It's like a lot of the times when you see these flair players or technical players, mavericks if you call them in the game, they don't have that grit and graft to go with it. In Pep's teams, that is the bare minimum. Like you're not doing it. All right, cool. I'll get someone off the bench who'll do it exactly.
Yep. I mean, even got rid of Aguero for that sort of thing. And I mean, legend of the club. You know what I mean?
Facts.
So, MFB says, look at Neville's recent tweet, basically saying that Rashford is the leak. There's also been that. I mean, it just looks. It just looks like there's a lot of disharmony. In the camp when it comes to Manchester United, and as I said, United fans are not happy here. When William says William Verlazy says when Wan-Bissaka realises he's attacking, he back passes because he can't pass and it doesn't pose any attacking threat at all. And Harley says Kevin was out of this world, and I'm a Liverpool fan, but you have to give him his props. Sorry, all pissed up said I missed his chat. Yes, he said Marhez was on fire in the second half. And he was. Marhez was brilliant. And you just see the difference because United do have quality players. Sancho, 80 million quid for it. But look at the difference of how those City players. I think if Jadon Sancho was playing for Man City, you'd see a different Jadon Sancho.
Leaving City. And coming to United. Listen, the Dortmund journey was nice, but in that system that Pep's in, he gets the best out of his players. That's one thing that's guaranteed. And I think yesterday, all of the attacking players, Grealish, Foden, Marhez, Bernardo, KDB, they all had brilliant games. And the defenders, they weren't really tested. Kyle Walker, Laporte, Stones had one moment.
They had no Diaz, remember, in that game.
But you wouldn't think it.
You wouldn't have thought it.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's move on to Liverpool. Liverpool, of course, obviously magnificent win for City. They had to win that game because breathing down their neck is Liverpool. Liverpool got a 1-0 win over West Ham on Saturday. We did a watch along to it here on DR. I have to say, it wasn't convincing by Liverpool. I thought West Ham, they had chances to equalise in that game. Lanzini missed that absolute sitter.
Antonio.
Fornal was guilty, I think, the little dink, even though it was a great saving, from
Alisson.
That wasn't Alisson.
Trent off the line.
Trent Alexander-Arnold got it off the line. It's brilliant by Trent. But I think, Fornal should have scored that, should have put more on it. Antonio had a chance. They had chances, West Ham, but what do teams that are going for titles do? When you're not at your very best, you get over the line, and I've got to say, it was Mane who got the goal in the game. It went to VAR, but he got the goal, got the decision. But the star of the game for me is a player that all the Liverpool fans are talking about, and I know Tottenham tried to sign this guy in the window, but he decided to go to Liverpool. When you're looking at Diaz and how he's playing for Liverpool, are you just saying to yourself, "Oh my God, man! If only."
Wow!
What a player!
You know what you say? Jugador. That's what you say. Jugador. That is a player, I'm telling you. And I think literally what you said there, it's one of those smash and grab type victories. Sometimes in these kind of title charges, you don't have to play pretty every game. And I think, as you said, West Ham had their chances. Once you survive that, you sometimes feel like, oh shit, the inevitable's going to come. West Ham are maybe going to score. Nah, defence was solid enough as well. And I think one thing we've got to give Klopp credit for is how he's kind of rotated his centre-backs with Konate, Matip. He's done it really well this season, but Luis Diaz is a special, special talent, I'm telling you. And I think the
way he runs with the ball, his directness, his pace, and his quality.
It's dynamic. Like every time he gets the ball, you know he's going to kind of make something happen. He's going to make players move. He's going to move you up the pitch. And I think he's kind of the perfect spark plug of what they needed. They've had Salah's goals who they can rely on. They've had Mane's goals. Jota was a nice, refreshing change as well. well, chipped in with some goals. But Diaz offers something different. That technical ability on the ball, I don't think any other Liverpool player kind of has.
Look at their squad now.
Yeah.
Look at their squad now, you know what I mean? Because on the bench, you know, on Saturday, they had Jota, they had Origi, you know what I mean? The problem for Klopp is, who do I take off? If I take off Salah, he's going to be vexed. Like, you could see he was vexed. You know, he didn't have his greatest game. He looked upset when he came off. If you take off Mane, he's upset. If you take off Jota, he's up. But it's a great problem to have, because every player out of them, it's not just the strength in depth. They know that when you go on that pitch, you got to perform. You got to perform, because otherwise someone's coming on to replace you, and the backup ain't really backup.
And I think
you know what I mean?
And then I think that's where kind of City and Liverpool the last couple of years, maybe you could say the small gap has been, where City have almost had like a 20-man certified squad. Liverpool have maybe been a bit thinner, and they've been asking for FSG to back them. Now they've got that bit of backing, and you can see once you give them the kind of talent that they need, and especially Diaz, I just feel like for a Klopp system, he's a perfect fit. He's got that kind of graft about him, but that technical X factor where you can kind of create something out of nothing as well. Brilliant player, man.
If only you'd have got him.
Listen, I said we stood no chance. Liverpool were linked with him for about 18 months, and we tried putting a cheeky bid last minute. I said, listen, if we get him, it's a blessing. If not, I'll enjoy him regardless.
Liverpool have won their last 7 Premier League games now, their longest run with a single within a single campaign since the run of 18 between the October and February in their 2019-20 title-winning campaign. Bit of a blow for West Ham. Do you think West Ham now, do you think that's it for the top 4? I mean, there's still quite a way to go, but whilst we're there, we're talking about the strength of Liverpool's squad. This is an Achilles heel for West Ham, is that they don't have a strength in depth. And you know, Declan Rice was out. I thought they coped very well without Declan Rice playing. They played very well. But, you know, when you're missing Declan Rice, Bowen limped off.
That was a massive one.
It looks like the injury's not as bad as they first thought, but still, even having him out, I mean, they got Sevilla this week. They don't have the squad. Is that what the big mistake they made in January?
Yeah, I think especially when they've had new owners come in as well, who are supposedly big backers as well. I think I would have expected some kind of spark plug, similar to what Liverpool have had. And it's considering the job Moyes has done over the last 2 years at West Ham as well, taking them from just above the relegation zone to regular European contenders, let's be honest. I would have thought, definitely give them that kickstart, especially the gap that there was for 4th place. It was up in the air, really. And you look at their fixtures coming up, they've got Spurs, they've got Everton, Chelsea, Arsenal and City still to come as well. And we're into the last 10 games of the season.
Yeah.
Like, it's getting to that squeaky bum period of the season now. So I think, big blow for them, but they can take a lot from kind of the performance. Only 1-0 to Liverpool, and then they still had a lot of chances without Deckers and Bowen obviously going off injured. It will be important to see how long he's out injured for, because he's been so important for them, Bowen. Yeah,
a team that took advantage, obviously, of the situation in the top 4 with West Ham dropping points. Wolves dropped points as well. We'll get onto them later. Was Arsenal winning 3-2 against Watford. I've got to say, the goals in that game, every single one of them was the highest quality. The goal by Watford, Hernandez, the overhead kick, that was brilliant. Saka's goal. There was some great goals in the game. Arsenal have won 8 of their last 10 games in the Premier League, drawn 1 and lost 1 in the process. And they've also won 4 consecutive away games in the Premier League for the 2nd time under Mikel Arteta. They're on form at the moment, Arsenal. After that win, they gone into the top 4 now, a point above Manchester United with 3 games in hand. Mind you, those 3 games in hand, I keep saying they're not games in hand, they're games. Right? Because they're tough games. They're Tottenham away, they're Liverpool at home, and Chelsea away. But then when you really look at it, like, for instance, if you look at, like, you know, the Tottenham away one, I know Arsenal have had a poor record there, but go there and get something. And again, it's a huge advantage, you know, where you've got one over your rival. You know, there's Arsenal fans talking about chasing down Chelsea for the 3rd spot. I mean, Arsenal really are on good form at the moment, aren't they?
Listen, 8 out of the, I think it's 8 out of the last 10, if I'm not mistaken. So you lot are on great form, in all honesty. And I think the one thing you lot have done this season is deal with the teams that you've needed to deal with, whereas previous years you've kind of struggled against them, maybe drop points. And of all the teams that are running for fourth, you lot have probably taken the most advantage of the slip-ups where results have been needed to pick up. But I do think what you said there, the fixture list is where you guys maybe have the worst running, because even just looking over the Chelsea and Spurs, you've got Liverpool, you've got Villa, you've still got United
Leicester
as
at
well.
home next week.
Leicester as well. So for me, I think of all the teams in that pack, United and Arsenal actually have the worst run-ins. So it'll be interesting to see if you lot can keep up that consistency.
But the thing is
against the bigger sides is where you lot have struggled.
But the thing is about it, right, is that at this time of year, I don't see that. You can look on it that way, but you're playing Watford. Watford are fighting for survival. They're fighting for their lives. So it's not even like you play Watford earlier on in the season, you can say, all right, you know what I mean? But you're playing, every team you're playing, if you play, when you guys played Burnley the other day, they're fighting for their lives.
Yeah.
So, Everton versus Tottenham tonight, Everton, for some weird reason, are in a relegation fight. They need something. So these are cup finals now, these games. These are cup finals. So
last 10.
It doesn't even... It's not a mega difference to what you would have said if that was around Christmas time or just before, you know what I mean? So they're all tough games now.
Yeah, but I think now, obviously, with it being the last 10, I think maybe 5 of those are against teams that are in and around you, kind of there. So I think that will always be tough to see if you lot can maintain that consistency. I think against bigger sides is where I've always had the questions over Arsenal this year. Now that you've got that left, if you lot finish this strongly, well done. It's very well deserved. Yeah, and I would say of all the teams, Arsenal have probably earned it the most.
What I look at with Arsenal at the moment, where I feel they have an advantage over the other teams, is I look at Arsenal and there's a togetherness in the team. It does look like, even when I watched that game yesterday, everyone's pulling in the same direction. Everybody's, on job. Everybody's, even the manager with almost an assist in the game. He picks the ball up,
they try to give him that.
Pre-assist, shift the ball quickly to Saka to move the ball, and they look to be playing with confidence and they look to be playing for each other.
Yeah.
Whereas if you look at Manchester United, what we saw yesterday,
disjointed, great
players but disjointed all over the place. Tottenham. A bit like that as well, isn't it? You know what I mean? One week and then the next week they're on the floor. You know what I mean? You don't know what you're going to get with Tottenham. And in West Ham, the problem really is not the togetherness, but the lack of squad depth. And I think, the fact that they're still in Europe, Arsenal not in Europe, one game a week kind of thing for a lot of the rest of the season. I mean, they are well placed to get into that top 4, but as 100%. You said, still a lot of tough games left for Arsenal. Mark T says, if Arsenal beat Chelsea, we will be above Chelsea if we win our remaining games. Our confidence is high. Chelsea inconsistent. We can win ugly games.
Just be careful.
Those are tough games. They're tough games. I personally don't think, listen, third place, I'm not even talking about that.
Because Chelsea's fixture list is very easy as well if you look at it. So
I'm not talking about third place.
Theirs eases up a lot more.
But certainly it was a fantastic weekend for Arsenal as regards the top 4 with, Manchester United losing, Wolves losing, West Ham losing. It worked out perfectly for Arsenal. I guess every Arsenal fan will be even more eager for Tottenham to lose tonight, just to make a perfect weekend. On Chelsea, pretty impressive win by Chelsea. When you think about going away to Burnley and beating them 4-0, right? When you think about the fact that all the controversy and all the stuff that's happened this week around Roman Abramovich, having to come out and saying he's selling the club. That was a bit of a tricky game on paper, isn't it? You're looking at Burnley, to go away there, but they emphatically won that. Reece James making a big difference as he's come back, and he's a quality player. And Chelsea, they needed to
I think Chelsea
win that for their keep the top 3 spot comfortable, but that was an impressive win by Chelsea.
It was, and I think with Chelsea there's always dramas, I think, at the club, behind the scenes, at board level, at managerial level, player level. I'm not surprised Tuchel's been able to still keep things composed though, because I think he is that kind of manager who, even if things
Good
are rocky,
manager.
he can kind of steady the ship and keep it simple. And I think first half, it was typical Burnley, making it kind of a rough games. You was thinking, is it going to be similar to like when they played Crystal Palace the other week, or even Watford, where they kind of struggled, and you just thought, second half though, they just completely just turned the screws on them.
Yeah.
As you said, I think Reece James this season is Chelsea's best attacker, best creator. Like, he is the system. And I think a lot of people have criticised Pep and Klopp for saying they've turned Cancelo and Trent into their systems, but Chelsea do similar things.
Come the World Cup this, not summer,
Who do you take?
winter, who starts? Trent Alexander-Arnold, Reece James or Walker?
Both, all three, if you can. I'm dead serious, Robbie, because I'm not starting Maguire. I'd happily play Kyle Walker at centre back. I'd happily play Reece James at centre back as well, because I can trust him, and I'd play Trent at right wing back. That's how I do. I'd squeeze all three if I can. Quality.
Who's the best out of those three?
footballers.
I want to put it out there. Who's the best out of those three? Three top quality right backs. We've got some quality right back. No Wan-Bissaka in there now?
Come on. Listen, Congo's waiting, man. AFCON next year, we're coming. Bro, I'm telling you, man.
You're harsh. You're harsh.
Nah.
Give up on England now.
Listen, forget about it, man. And I think there's a few of those. Even Callum Hudson-Odoi. Think about Ghana, man. I'm telling you. But Chelsea, well done. I think Kai Havertz as well. He's taking that number 9 role now off Lukaku. He's dropped. I think Kai Havertz is getting his run to kind of play that false 9 role.
Another goal for him as well.
Yeah, 2 goals if I'm not mistaken. So see how he can maintain that till the end of the season.
He's playing really well.
Over the last 18 months, he hasn't really cemented and made the spot his own. So we'll see.
So great win for Chelsea. And you know what? Let's, before we go on to the next game, let's talk a little bit about the controversy in that game, which was every Premier League game this weekend. There was a minute's applause for, the Ukraine and banners being held up saying "Stop the war, no war." Yeah. Even my son's grassroots game yesterday, under 13s game, they did that. They all gathered in a semicircle, clapped, minutes applause.
Yeah.
For to appeal for no war. Chelsea fans, a section of Chelsea fans singing Roman Abramovich's name during those applause, came under heavy criticism, even from the manager, Thomas Tuchel, who was like, said that it was very disrespectful what they did. I mean, what's up with some of these fans? And you can turn around and you can say, I heard somebody on the radio quite eloquently put this, he said that, listen, when somebody turns around and says, well, hold on, they're not real fans. Mm-hmm. No, but they are. They've gone all the way to Burnley to follow their team. They are real Chelsea fans, right? It's disgraceful, isn't it?
And it is. And the thing is, I think it's almost like they've had their rich daddy taken away, they might feel like, or a sense of entitlement. But
we get that, but
it's like there's
things.
a time and a place type of thing.
Exactly.
And it was the same thing as like when people were booing the knee as well. It's like, just even if you don't agree with the message, just respect the message for that 1 minute. Like, that's what all it is for me. And I just don't see how people just can't seem to understand that. It's just baffling, honestly.
Perfectly put. Usman says, quality show, Fuad, Toby and Expressions are the only 3 respectable Tottenham fans, and you got all 3 on this channel. Ask Fuad, who's Arsenal's best player?
What, right now?
Yeah.
Probably have to go... Tomiyasu.
It's hard for you.
I got Tomiyasu. I like Tomiyasu, man.
You could have had him as well. That's another one.
Listen,
that's another one you could have had.
Anyone who knows me knows how I feel about Tomiyasu, man.
Saka yesterday, by the way, was unplayable. He was brilliant.
Yeah.
Great win. We start talking a bit more about the bottom now. Actually, no, before I touch on that, still on the top 4, Wolves. That was a very damaging defeat for them. They really dropping away now from the top 4 argument, but still can maybe make a push for that top 6, but beaten by Crystal Palace. And the great job that Patrick Vieira has done at Crystal Palace this season. Remember, at the start of the season, they lost literally the whole team. They got rid of all the, it was a complete revamp because there was so many players out of contract. And I think Vieira's done an outstanding job. They're probably going to finish mid-table. Yeah. And I think he's done an outstanding job. And they've been playing some great stuff, and the Palace fans have been loving it. And that Elise, That's another quality player that they've got there.
Screaming about Elise, honestly, a special.
How is you know,
talent.
you look at players like that who was killing it in the Championship at Reading, and you think, why has no one?
8 million, Robbie. 8 million, not even double figures. 8 million.
How has nobody
Do you know what it is?
gone and got him?
I don't think any of the big teams are willing to take that development gamble where they. Even, let's be honest, even at Palace, he hasn't started a ton of games, whether it be COVID or fitness issues, but you can see the raw ability.
They're bringing him through. And I think that needs to be the plan now. For, you know, funny enough, I did an interview the other day over on AFTV with Sky Andrew, the agent, and he was saying that he's going, some of these teams now need to start getting players
straight from the source
and have a plan for those players. You know what I mean? You can't always just go and buy 60 million there, 70 million. You know what I mean? What about going and getting £8 million Elise and developing him? And then if, you know, you have to end up selling and you've made 50 million.
Yeah.
How are Dortmund able to go and get Jude Bellingham in front of all these teams over in the UK? So, but what a player he is, and that was a great result for them. Also, going down towards the relegation zone, Newcastle United 2, Brighton 1. No side is on a longer current unbeaten run in the Premier League than Newcastle United. Yes, Newcastle, with the Magpies now without a defeat in their last 8 games in the competition. Phenomenal by them. 1-5, drawn 3. Eddie Howe has completely turned things around.
Literally, and I remember said at the start of the show, and even when we did the watch along, I think it was in December when we played them, I said I think Newcastle can still survive this if they make the right moves in January, and I think that's exactly what they've done. Trippier, Woods, Bruno, who hasn't really even been gotten involved because of how the midfield have stepped up. You've got to give credit to Eddie Howe, though, who's been the biggest addition. Tactically, what he's been able to bring in and how he's been able to get these players to step up, because that's what you do as well. When you bring quality players in, though, it's meant to raise the levels of everyone around you. And even that, let's be honest, Joel Linton being turned into a box-to-box midfielder, credit to him.
Look what he's done with Ryan Fraser.
Bro,
Ryan Fraser, who's like, obviously him and Bruce didn't get on. Revitalised him. Revitalised Willock. Shelby.
New leases of life.
For these guys. And he's done an outstanding job.
And that's what you need when a new manager comes in, to have that kind of effect. Not just a new manager bounce, but almost like a long-term vision. And everybody knew in January they weren't going to be able to get big star names. But he got the names, I think, that can just about do the job till the end of the season. They stay up now. Summer's looking pretty for them, so it'll be interesting. Good result for them, though. 14th
now in the table on 28 points from 26 games. Leeds, however, going the other way. Leeds 23 points now in 16th place, still in danger. Very unlucky, though. I thought Leeds were outstanding in that game. Didn't take their chances. Kasper Schmeichel had a worldie in goal, and then Leicester, Harvey Barnes, who always scores against Leeds, pops up with a goal. Leicester winning 1-0.
I think with Leeds
are getting sucked in.
Yeah, Leeds have been kind of just hovering above the relegation zone, I feel like. And it'll be interesting to see how Jesse Marsch kind of fixes that team, because I think defensively they've always struggled a little bit. They were a lot better on that day.
Yeah, I heard him, though, say something like... the performance
was more important than the 3 points.
I don't think every Leeds fan would agree with you right now.
That ain't the right mentality.
3 points is what, you know, I mean, this ain't the start of the season. Listen, points over performance.
They better hope he's not some Ted Lasso, Bob Bradley type manager, I'm telling you, because they will be in huge trouble. Because remember, he took over a Red Bull Leipzig team that finished runners-up in the Bundesliga last year, and he left them in 11th place.
Yeah.
So why they've gone for him, I think, was purely from a philosophy aspect. So it'll be interesting to see what he brings. But Leeds, big trouble.
Don't want that philosophy in the Championship.
Remember,
you know what I mean?
Their whole spine is still out injured as well, with Calvin Phillips, Bamford.
Well, Bamford was on the bench.
Oh, is he?
But he didn't actually get on, so he can't be fully ready to come on.
Yeah.
We already know that Watford lost, as we know, and that you know, puts them in 19th place. We know that we've already discussed Burnley. They lost. They're in the bottom 3 as well, 18th place on 21. Watford on 19. Norwich, bottom of the table now, 17 points, played 27 games. They're gone. It's goodbye. They had that big 6-pointer against Brentford.
It was nice.
And Brentford winning a game by 3-1.
Tony.
Ivan Toney, is he the best penalty taker in the Premier League?
Whoa.
His 2 penalties were brilliant.
Harry Kane's still around, yeah? He's up, yeah? He's up, yeah?
No, I think Tony's better.
The boy Kane don't miss.
No, I've seen him miss.
When? I can't even recall a Harry Kane penalty miss. I'd love to hear it if someone knows in the comments. I'm sure he's missed. But it's rare.
He's good.
It's rare.
Tony,
Harry
I
Kane
think.
misses a
Yeah,
penalty.
but Tony never misses. He never misses, and he's got that little run up where he just takes one step and just bangs it into either corner.
He's like a proper old school British striker, I feel like.
Yeah.
Throwback, proper target man, I feel like. And listen, he's doing the job for them. I thought
Massive
his goals
win for
dried
them.
up for them.
Massive win. They hadn't won a game for
they've
ages.
been struggling for results, so they needed that big time.
And that keeps them in 15th place on 27 points. So they're now
Eriksen as well returning.
6 points.
Eriksen
Just about to
making a
get to
start.
that. 6 points now above the relegation zone. That lovely moment in the game where Eriksen. And it was Brandon Williams, wasn't it?
Hey,
and
that was so
he was just
funny.
about to grab him, and he realised it was Eriksen and hugged him instead.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. Hey, that was
But
too
how
funny.
good was it to see Eriksen, not just Eriksen back and contributing, because you could say he had 2 assists with his deliveries for the corners, and also play a full 90 minutes. This is like a miracle.
Yeah.
The guy, I remember we did the watch along here for the Euros. I honestly thought I was witnessing someone die on a pitch. And now the guy is back playing a full 90 minutes. Number one, the technology that's there now, that they can fit in with that pacemaker type thing, that it can go and play a professional football game in the Premier League, which is 100 miles an hour.
Yeah. It's a fairy tale.
Honestly, it's a great story.
Movie waiting to be written, and it's
Great
a great
story.
story, honestly. It's a real feel-good story, and I think he deserves it as well. For the player that he is, the quality that you can see he brings to the game as well. Seeing guys like him, Coutinho, all back in the Premier League balling, it's just almost feels a little bit throwback to yesteryear type. So I'm happy. I love Eriksen.
On Coutinho, what a performance by him for Aston Villa. They beat Southampton by 4-0, and he was the star of the show. Is that another player that you look at and think to yourself, teams have missed out on again?
100%.
What a performance.
Why Spurs didn't go in for him even? Arsenal actually are quite stocked in that creative area, but I just feel like so many teams missed out. And I think maybe people looked at him and his Barca situation and thought, is he the same player that he was once upon a time? But I think once you put Coutinho and those types of creative mavericks in a environment where they're loved and supported. We saw that with James last year as well, let's not forget. They really turn up. And I think under Gerrard, you saw the way Gerrard was waxing lyrical about him.
And I think
my career and everything in it. So
I think Gerrard is getting the best out of him as well. Ivan Toney's missed 1 out of 23 penalties taken, apparently.
Interesting.
Wow.
Let me have a look at Kane's.
1 out of 23. He's brilliant. Player of the weekend. Who was your player of the weekend?
KDB pulled up a big derby performance. Saka was brilliant.
Diaz.
Diaz was good. I give it KDB. I think derby game, coming in, performing big. He's been struggling for form, I think, over this season, to be honest. I don't think he's really been at that levels. But the Chelsea game, this game, he's really turned up. So, I'll give it to
recently
him. Ivan Toney.
He's been back to his own self. Ivan Toney.
2 penalties.
So 2 penalties, and a goal.
I'll tax him on that. I'll give it
No,
to
but it's a
KDB.
hat-trick. And when you think about it, right, in the context of things, Brentford haven't won for about 6-7 games. Do you know what?
It's important. It's
Very important. I think my player of the weekend I give to Ivan Toney.
Yeah.
I was going to say Kevin De Bruyne as well. We'll throw it out there to guys. Luffy Lee says Marhez. Isaiah says Reece James or Havertz.
Hey, Reece James.
Naveen's gone for Odegaard. Jono LCFC's gone for Kasper Schmeichel. Ty Jr.'s gone for Harry Maguire. I don't think so. He's taking a missile. Bukayo Sako says Glenn Knightley. KDB says Abed. Nobody going for Ivan Toney, but think about that game. Brentford have lost, I think it's their last 7 or 8 of their last 9 games. They've lost. They're playing against Norwich. That is a relegation, and you score a hat-trick.
The magnitude of it is,
And those penalties are big penalties.
Yeah.
Big penalties. I don't know. I think I'm going to...
I'll give him that.
I think I'm going to edge towards him. But listen, you could have given it to De Bruyne as well. He was brilliant. That was a huge game as well. They needed to win that. Pressure at the other end of the table. Slip up, especially with Liverpool winning the night before. Again, De Bruyne.
Yeah.
And he was a captain as well. Both of them were captains, isn't it? Tyrone and both of them with captains' performances. Throw it out to you guys.
Leading.
One more game to talk about, and that is the game tonight. Tottenham Hotspur versus Everton. Tottenham have lost just one of their last 18 Premier League games against Everton. 1-8, drawn 9. Though that did come in the exact same fixture last season when you got beat 1-0 at home by Everton. Following their 1-0 win in this exact fixture last term, Everton are looking to pick up back-to-back away wins against Spurs for the first time since a run of 3 between August 2006 and 2008. And by the way, we're running a poll for our player of the weekend. Diaz, KDB, Ivan Toney, or Trent Alexander-Arnold are the 4 that's in it. Where's Saka? What's going on? Where's Saka in there? He was outstanding as well. But yeah.
Everton's
tonight,
a funny one. Everton
again, right? Let me just remind everybody of this game. There is a lot on it. Tottenham in 7th place as things stand, but they've played 25 games, so they've got 3 games in hand over West Ham and Manchester United.
Yeah.
42 points, though. That's 6 points behind Arsenal, who currently occupy the 4th place, who, once you've played that game, would have played a game less than you. You have to win this game tonight, Tottenham, for any chance of the top 4. Yeah. And then if I then go down to Everton are just off the bottom 3 in 17th place. Everton have never, ever been relegated from the Premier League, them and Arsenal, right? They're played 24 on 22 points. That's a point above Burnley, yeah? 3 points above Watford. They are in definite danger of going down. They've had a lot of negative press as well. Usmanov, the guy who's been backing a lot of things, who's with Arsenal as well, he's been sanctioned. They've even seized his yacht. Obviously, Russian oligarch. They've had those problems as well as on field, but they did put in a very good performance in their last game against Manchester City, a game that I think they should have got a point out of. I thought they were robbed.
Cheated
with the handball right at the end. Frank Lampard in town. Can they go to Tottenham and get a win or get a result out? They need something.
Yeah.
Both teams, this is why this game's so good tonight. Both teams need something for it.
And that's why, honestly, I could see a draw written all over this. It's almost like there's too much on the line.
Draw's no good.
Yeah, draw's no good for either one as well. That's the worst thing. But it's one of those, I don't think we've beat them over the last 3 games we've played. We've drawn twice and then, as you said, lost last year at home to them. But Everton is always one of those weird teams that I just feel like they can turn up on the day and still put in a performance. But with us, we're so inconsistent, you don't know what Spurs you're going to get. And that's at home, away. It could be putting in a performance against City one week and then the next week you kind of capitulate against Burnley or Southampton, take your pick, or Wolves, take your pick. So it all depends on what Spurs for me turn up today. But for me, I think we have to take the game to them. I think too often we've seen against teams, especially lower down in the table, where maybe we might sit back and be tentative. We did that against Middlesbrough, for God's sake, in the FA Cup, and it cost us.
Is this the problem? Like, you're playing at home and then 3 at the back, which Conte, we know he loves to do, but at home, do you want to see
the thing
3 at the back,
I don't
like
mind the 3 at the back,
dropping into a back 5? Is that what you want to see at home?
Sometimes it could be free flowing and attacking the 3 at the back, because it turns into like a 3-4-3 and you're like, oh, do you know what, the system isn't bad. So it's how it's used for me. I just hope we're not kind of inviting Everton and kind of letting them take the game to us.
With the midfield players you have,
that's where our biggest issue is.
And then you're now having a lesser player in the midfield because you're going with 3 at the back.
Dele Alli's coming back as well.
Dele Alli coming back into town? No, can't see that. Can't see that.
That's what I said as well. I was like,
I'd be more worried about Van der Beek.
Watch, it'll be like, boom, back post, header. Here we go.
Oh, that'd be glorious.
I think it'll be a tight game with both teams, kind of, as you said, having a lot on the line. top 4, I think, is very slim chances for us. I don't really think we were really ever really in the race.
Well, for top 4?
Even with the games.
Don't say that.
Do you know what it is?
Don't say that, Fuad.
I don't think we have the quality.
Look how many games you had in hand. Look how many.
That's games in hand, Robbie.
And the games you had in hand were games that you should have won.
That's not guaranteed points. Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we know that.
The quality and the consistency of the squad is what's going to stop it from being a top 4 side. And any Spurs fan will tell you the same. I'm telling you. I always said since the start of the season, more than likely Arsenal will finish above us, and I won't be surprised if you lot did get the 4th spot. I've said it since the start of the season, honestly. I look at our squad and I'm like, we don't have that togetherness that Arsenal have. We don't have that solid defence that you lot have.
We don't have a creative midfield like you have. Conte?
What you're missing is a goal scorer. That's the only thing we have.
Is that down to Conte though, right? In that he's come in. And I ain't being funny. All I ever hear this guy doing, week in, week out, is moaning, whinging. Look at Eddie Howe. Look at Eddie Howe.
So.
Yeah, but look at Eddie Howe. He's come in. He ain't got what he wants. Even in the transfer window that's just gone by. Come on. Do you think you think that's what he really needs, Chris Wood? And players like I know they were able to spend some money, but you guys got in a couple of good loans in Bentancur, and I think that Kulusevski's done very well since he's come in.
Tell him, man.
But I keep hearing whinging, moaning. Now remember, I said this to Expressions the other day. When he came in, he looked like he came in at the start of the season and he's had a pre-season and he's been able to buy players. He's come in on the back of a manager being sacked. So he knows, even in January, he's not going to get everything he wants.
Yes.
It's going to be really, everybody, especially a manager of his experience, knows that January is a time very difficult to bring in top quality players. He knows it's going to be the summer. If after the summer you haven't got what you need, moan then. But at this moment in time, why not get the best out of the players you've got, like Eddie Howe is doing? I hear it. But the thing is, it's those players that he's working with now. He's not the only manager that's been complaining. Nuno complained about him. Jose complained about him. Poch complained about him. What his bigger issue that he's also complaining about is the mindset of these players dropping off. How is Eddie Howe able to get that out of Joe Linton? How is he able to all of a sudden Ryan Fraser be doing what he's doing? He's lifted the spirits of the place. Hold on. I'm being real here, right?
Okay.
He's lifted the spirits of the place. Whereas I look at Conte and I'm like, but in lifting, I don't see the spirit being lifted.
He lifted the spirit. Don't do that, Robbie. I'm not having that.
You think
he's come in 100%. Are we seeing the same Kane that we saw before he came in?
He's lifted him.
Completely rejuvenated player. Son looks better. For me, I think a lot of the players. Dyer looks better. Romero looks back to form. Lloris looks back to form. Like, there have been players that have stepped up since Conte has come in. Højbjerg, maybe not so much. Doherty. Doherty's actually been a little bit better since Conte's actually come in. But he's also been a man. I don't want to see him. Emerson's been a mess. No one can fix that. That's a mess.
You can't say that.
I'm sorry,
Robbie. Because a £30 million player that was highly sought after by many teams.
And Conte has played him week in, week out, and he's seen what... That is exactly why Conte's frustrated. Conte has probably sat there and thinking, you dummies spent 30 million in the summer on this right back. How dare you? Because I would have never spent 30 million
But now you got him. You're the coach. You are the coach, head coach.
You can take the horse to water.
Get the best out of it. Is he 30 million? He's totally crap then, you're saying?
I personally don't think you will ever get Emerson to consistently deliver a great end product, and he will never be a top right wing back.
There must be something in him that made him cost that amount of money.
Potential, maybe. Brazilian. The fact that Barcelona needed to sell players and we wanted to take advantage of that. That's all it was, really and truly. I don't think Emerson is going to be a top right back in world football, in my opinion, honestly. And listen, you could say maybe Conte's wrong for not coaching him to that level, but I think Conte's looking at the facts of what Spurs are and is saying, listen, this is a way bigger job than what I thought it was going to be. That's the reality of what I think every press conference is. He's I thought, because I'm sure Jose even walked in thinking, they've got Kane, Son, they've got a couple of pieces, I can work with this. Till you come in and you realise the infection is very deep in the trenches at this club. It's going to take more than one win, though.
That's your job.
100%.
That's what you're getting paid. Like, how much is it?
But he's just accepting the reality.
A year.
And I get frustrated when people are annoyed at Conte for calling out the truth for what it is. I'm sorry, he's just telling the truth.
You call out the truth, but not every game you lose.
The truth. Give me the truth every time. That's all I ask.
Well, hopefully I'll be hearing another press conference like that tomorrow, and then it'll be a good. It would have been a perfect weekend for Arsenal. Listen, I'm sorry, I'm going to be biased here, but listen. What's your prediction for that game tonight?
2-1 win.
2-1 win.
Yeah.
I actually agree with you. I do think you'll beat Everton. I do think you'll beat Everton. I was just about to read out the poll, and it's just disappeared on me. So hopefully the guys. Oh no, actually I've got it here now. Right. So the poll is player of the weekend: Trent Alexander-Arnold, 5%; Ruben Diaz, 12%; Ivan Toney, 14%; and Kevin De Bruyne wins with 67% of the vote. I'm going to sack all of the production team. How Saka is not in there, that is a disgrace. Absolute disgrace. Saka not in that player of the weekend. That is disgusting. But anyway, listen, thank you very much for watching the show today. Fuad, thank you very much, mate.
Always a pleasure.
No, I can't say that. I was about to say
he's going to say good luck for tonight. Go on, Robbie.
Enjoy the game tonight. Enjoy the game tonight. Of course, massive game tonight. Tottenham versus Everton. And don't forget to check out all of our content this week. We are going to be doing a watch along, massive game this weekend. This week, especially on Wednesday when we got that big Champions League game, Real Madrid. Yeah. Real Madrid versus PSG. Who do you think's going through in that?
I think I've got my money on PSG, to be honest. I think they'll finish the job, yeah.
Liverpool versus Inter as well. We're going to be doing that on Tuesday night. I'll be hosting that. Abby's going to be back in the hot seat as well on Wednesday. And then at the weekend, got the big one. Manchester United versus Tottenham. Mm-hmm. Huge game that is. That's a massive game that is.
Listen, I'm looking forward to that.
You'll be here for that, right?
Yeah, I'm here for that as well.
You're doing a that trophy again.
Listen, hey, let me not get too carried away again.
You're on a good little run here, aren't you?
I can't lie. I've been enjoying my time lately.
We're going to get somebody else for that game. You know what I mean? I don't like this run he's on.
Hey, listen, we're going to be running wild Saturday. Tune in.
Listen, make sure you check it out. Thank you very much for watching the show. Don't forget to subscribe here to DR Sports. We're getting towards 200,000. Come on, get us there, right? In just over a year. It's been fantastic. And like this video. And when you subscribe as well, you can comment. I want to hear your comments. So thank you very much for that. And we'll see you on the next one.
Peace.